Have you ever noticed that some conversations flow so naturally, while others seem to end after just a few seconds? Today, we're going to discover the simple secret behind that.
And what if asking one small question could make people enjoy talking to you even more? By the end of today's episode, you'll know exactly how to do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Podcast. I'm Sarah, and we're so happy you've joined us for another day of learning English together.
I'm Jack, and today is day 19 of our 30-day English challenge. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Join our growing community and keep learning with us every single day.
All right, Jack, let's tell everyone what today's lesson is about.
Today we're learning how to ask follow-up questions in English. They may sound simple, but they're one of the most important communication skills you can develop.
That's so true. A follow-up question keeps the conversation moving and shows the other person that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say.
Exactly. It's not the first question you ask. It's the next question that helps you understand someone's story, opinion, or experience more deeply.
Let me give everyone an easy way to think about it. Imagine you're reading a really interesting book, and suddenly the story stops in the middle of a chapter.
That would be frustrating because you'd immediately want to know what happens next.
That's exactly what a conversation feels like when nobody asks a follow-up question. It suddenly loses energy and comes to an end.
But when you ask another thoughtful question, it's like turning the page and continuing the story. The conversation becomes more interesting and meaningful.
I really like that comparison. It explains the idea perfectly.
I'm glad. Sometimes a simple example makes learning much easier to remember.
Throughout today's lesson, we'll explore different kinds of follow-up questions, practice them together, and show you how native speakers use them naturally.
And of course, we'll continue using the shadowing method. Listen carefully, repeat after us, and copy our pronunciation as closely as you can.
Don't just read the words silently. Say them out loud, because speaking is what helps your English become natural and confident. Let's begin with one of the easiest types of follow-up questions. What questions?
Great choice. They're simple to use and perfect for beginners because they help you ask for more information.
Imagine your friend says, "I visited an amazing place last weekend." A natural follow-up question would be, "What was it like?"
Or you could ask, "What did you do there?" Both questions encourage the other person to continue sharing their experience.
That's the goal of a follow-up question. You're showing real curiosity and inviting the conversation to grow.
When people feel that you're interested in what they're saying, they usually become more comfortable talking with you.
In fact, many communication experts say that people naturally feel closer to someone who asks thoughtful questions instead of only talking about themselves.
That makes perfect sense. Think about someone who truly listens to you and asks meaningful questions. It feels good, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It makes you feel respected, understood, and appreciated.
All right, everyone. It's time for our first shadowing exercise.
Listen carefully to Jack's sentence, then repeat both the sentence and the follow-up question after us.
Here's the sentence. I started a new job last month.
Now ask the follow-up question. Oh, really? What kind of job is it?
Great job! Remember, the more you say these questions aloud, the more naturally they'll come to you in real conversations.
That's such an important detail. Beginning with, "Oh, really?" makes your response sound warm, natural, and genuinely interested.
Exactly. Those small reactions like, "Oh, really? Wow, no way!" or "That's interesting," make your English sound like a real conversation instead of a textbook.
Native speakers almost never jump straight into a question. They usually react first and then ask for more information.
So instead of saying, "What kind of job is it?" try saying, "Oh, really? What kind of job is it? It sounds much friendlier.
All right, let's practice another type of follow-up question. This time, we'll focus on why questions.
These questions help you understand the reason behind someone's decision, opinion, or experience.
Imagine someone says, I stopped drinking coffee last year.
A natural response would be, "Oh, really? Why did you decide to do that?"
Notice how smoothly that conversation continues. You're not only asking a question, you're showing genuine curiosity.
There's also a shorter and more casual expression that native speakers use all the time. How come?
Yes, instead of asking why, you can simply say, how come? It sounds relaxed and very conversational.
For example, if I told you I didn't sleep well last night, you could naturally ask, "How come?"
That's exactly how close friends usually speak with each other.
Let's practice together. Listen carefully. Sentence: I didn't sleep well last night. Follow-up question: Oh no, how come? Is everything okay?
Great. Repeat it again with us. Oh no, how come? Is everything okay?
Adding "is everything okay" makes your response sound caring, not just curious.
That's an important point. Follow-up questions aren't only about collecting information.
They're also a way of showing kindness, attention, and genuine interest in another person.
Exactly. They tell the other person, I'm listening, and I care about what you're saying.
All right, let's move on to another powerful category: how questions.
These questions often help people talk about emotions, experiences, and personal feelings instead of only facts.
For example, imagine someone says, I completed my first marathon last year.
You could ask, what was it like? But an even deeper follow-up would be, how did you feel when you finished?
That's the difference. Instead of getting simple information, you're inviting someone to share a meaningful experience.
And those kinds of conversations are usually the ones people remember.
I've noticed something interesting. Whenever you ask someone how they felt about an experience, their face often lights up.
That's because you're giving them a chance to talk about something personal instead of only describing events.
Exactly. You're saying, I'd really like to hear your story.
Let's do another shadowing exercise.
Sentence: I moved to a new city 6 months ago.
Follow-up question. Oh, wow. How has that been for you so far? Do you like living there?
Excellent.
Let's repeat it once more. How has that been for you so far? Do you like living there?
Pay attention to the rhythm. Stress the word been. That small detail makes your English sound much more natural.
English isn't spoken with the same emphasis on every word. Some words carry more energy than others.
That's why listening and shadowing are such powerful learning tools.
Speaking of conversations, let me share a quick story because I think it'll help everyone remember today's lesson.
I have a feeling this is going to be a good one.
A while ago, I met someone at a community event. We started chatting, and I asked, "So, what do you do?"
What did they say?
They smiled and said, "I'm an architect." I simply replied, "Oh, that's nice." And then, silence.
Oh no, the conversation stopped right there.
Exactly. We both stood there for a few awkward seconds because I forgot to ask another question.
That happens to a lot of people.
Looking back, I could have asked, "What kind of buildings do you design?" Or, "What's your favorite project?"
And suddenly the conversation would have had somewhere to go.
Instead, I accidentally ended it with one short reply.
That's a lesson worth remembering. Words like cool, nice, or okay can easily become conversation stoppers if nothing comes after them.
But a follow-up question keeps the conversation moving naturally.
Think of it this way. A short reaction can feel like a red light, while a follow-up question is the green light that keeps everything going.
Everyone, repeat after us. Follow-up questions keep conversations moving.
Excellent! That's a sentence you'll definitely remember.
Now, let's look at another useful type of follow-up question, the clarifying question.
We use these whenever we didn't fully understand what someone said.
That's completely normal because people sometimes speak quickly or use unfamiliar vocabulary.
Instead of pretending you understood, it's always better to ask politely.
You can say, "Sorry, could you say that again?"
Or, what do you mean by that?
Another useful option is, "Could you explain that a little more?"
These questions are polite, respectful, and very common in everyday English.
Most people actually appreciate it when you ask for clarification because it shows you're paying attention.
And surprisingly, many people enjoy explaining things when they know someone is genuinely interested.
Exactly. Asking for clarification doesn't make your English look weak. It makes you a better communicator. All right, everyone. Let's practice a clarifying follow-up question together.
Imagine someone says, "I've been practicing intermittent fasting for almost a year."
Now, if you don't know what intermittent fasting means, you don't need to stay quiet or pretend you understand.
A natural response would be, "Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, what exactly does that mean? Is it a type of eating plan?"
Great. Now, repeat after us. "Oh, that's interesting. Sorry, what exactly does that mean?"
Excellent! Did you notice the word exactly in that question?
That small word makes your question sound softer and more polite than simply asking, "What does that mean?"
Exactly. Tiny words like exactly, actually, kind of, and sort of help your English sound much more natural.
Native speakers use these little expressions all the time, so don't be afraid to include them in your conversations.
Let's move on to something really practical.
We're going to look at follow-up questions you can use in everyday situations. Meeting new people, talking with coworkers, or chatting with friends.
Perfect. Let's imagine our first situation.
You're meeting someone for the first time, maybe at a class, a party, or a networking event, and they tell you, "I recently moved here from another country."
There are so many great follow-up questions you could ask.
For example, "Oh, really? Where are you originally from?"
Or you could ask, how long have you been living here?
Another great option is, "What inspired you to move here?"
Notice how each question takes the conversation in a different direction.
Asking, "Where are you from?" invites them to talk about their home.
Asking, "How long have you been here?" encourages them to share their experience adjusting to a new place.
And "What inspired you to move here?" often leads to a much more personal and meaningful story.
That's usually where the most interesting conversations begin.
All right, everyone, let's practice together.
Repeat after us. "Oh, really? What inspired you to move here? That sounds like such an interesting journey."
Excellent. Let's try it one more time with natural rhythm.
"Oh, really? What inspired you to move here? That sounds like such an interesting journey."
Adding a compliment like, "That sounds like such an interesting journey," makes your response feel warm and sincere.
Exactly. People appreciate knowing that you're genuinely interested in their experiences.
Now, let's move to another common situation. Imagine you're at work or in class, and someone says, "I've been working on a difficult project for the last 3 weeks."
A thoughtful follow-up would be, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's been the most challenging part?" That question does much more than simply reacting. It shows empathy and invites the other person to share what they're going through.
It's much more meaningful than simply saying, "That's tough."
Sometimes people don't need advice right away. They just need someone who's willing to listen.
Asking, what's been the most challenging part for you gives them that opportunity.
Let's practice together. Repeat after us. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's been the most challenging part for you? Excellent. Remember to say, I'm sorry to hear that, with genuine warmth.
Your tone is just as important as the words themselves.
All right, let's try one more situation.
Imagine your friend says, I've been learning something completely new recently.
That's the perfect opportunity for a follow-up question because they've only given you part of the story.
You could naturally respond, Oh, really? What have you been learning?
Sometimes people intentionally leave out the details because they're hoping you'll ask.
Exactly. It's almost like they're inviting you to continue the conversation.
When you ask a follow-up question, you're accepting that invitation.
Let's practice. Repeat after us. Oh, really? What have you been learning? Great job! Let your voice rise naturally at the end to sound curious and engaged.
English conversations become much more enjoyable when you speak with expression instead of a flat voice.
Before we continue, there's one more important conversation skill we should talk about.
A lot of learners wonder what they should say after someone answers their follow-up question.
That's a great question, because you don't want the conversation to feel like a job interview.
Exactly. If you only ask one question after another, people can start feeling like they're being interviewed instead of having a friendly conversation.
Real conversations have a natural rhythm.
First you react, then you respond, and only after that do you ask another question if it feels appropriate. Imagine someone says, I just came back from a vacation in Japan.
You ask, Oh, wow, how was it?
They reply, It was amazing. The food was incredible.
Instead of immediately asking another question, first react naturally.
You might say, That sounds fantastic. I've always wanted to try authentic Japanese food someday.
Then you can continue with another follow-up, like, What was your favorite meal?
See how much smoother that conversation feels?
You're not simply collecting answers, you're sharing your own thoughts as well.
That's what makes a conversation feel balanced and enjoyable.
Both people contribute, both people listen, and both people help the conversation grow.
I really like thinking about conversations that way.
Me too. Every thoughtful follow-up question helps build a stronger connection, one sentence at a time. Before we finish, let's quickly review today's lesson.
Today, we learned how follow-up questions help conversations flow naturally and make people feel heard.
We practiced what, why, how, and clarifying questions, along with both casual and formal examples.
And remember, always start with a natural reaction like, oh really? Or that's interesting. It instantly makes your English sound warmer.
Now it's your turn. Today's challenge is simple.
Have a conversation with a friend, family member, or coworker and ask at least 3 follow-up questions. Notice how the conversation changes.
If you're practicing alone, watch a video or listen to a podcast and write down 3 follow-up questions you would ask the speaker.
Before we go, here's our question for you.
When was the last time you had a great conversation in English, and what made it memorable?
Leave your answer in the comments. We'd love to read your stories.
If you've reached the end of today's episode, congratulations! You've completed day 19, and you're getting closer to finishing the 30-day challenge.
Every time you practice, your confidence grows a little more. Keep showing up because you're making real progress.
If today's lesson helped you, please like this video, subscribe to Daily English Podcast, and share it with another English learner.
We'll see you tomorrow for day 20 with another exciting lesson that every English learner can relate to.
Until then, keep practicing, keep speaking, And remember, every conversation makes your English stronger.
Thanks for listening to Daily English Podcast. See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye, take care, and keep learning.